what am I talking about this evening? I've spotted a few, my lives are often to do with, what people have asked in the group and, lots of questions that are asked. And one question that's popped up occasionally is, how do I start selling to people that aren't my friends and family? Well, there are a number of ways you can do this, but the main way and the free way is to get yourself a social media following. So this evening's waffle is about increasing your engagement on social media, getting people to engage with what you're doing, and hopefully eventually to follow, and then ultimately to buy from you. Okay, so I've got 7. I love numbers. 7 points, 7 things that you can do to help your social media engagement. My cat's being weird. Stop being weird. 7 things that you can do to help your social media engagement. Now, it must be said that I'm not a great expert in all of these. I know how it all works, but I don't always do it all. It's one of those, do as I say, not as I do. But say, when I look back at how I first started on Instagram and didn't have an utter clue about, and Facebook as well, didn't have a clue about how it worked. But particularly in the last couple of years, when I've been in various business networks, I've picked up so much about how things work and what you can do to help get people seeing you. Okay, so let's go through these 7 things then. So the first one, which I'm harping on about all the time, I think I mentioned it last week, is to know your ideal client. Know who your ideal client is. If you're not sure what I mean by ideal client, I have done another live on it, and I've done a blog post on it. Do have a quick look at those, because it's worth knowing about that for your business. Something I didn't have a clue before I started my business, but it really makes sense. It's finding the type of person that is most likely to buy your product. It doesn't mean you exclude everybody else. It just means that, the way that you talk, the things that you refer to are aimed at that one group of people that ideally will buy what you are selling. So know about your ideal client, because if you know who they are, you can encourage them to interact with you a lot more. And you'll see as we go through what I'm talking about. Okay. So if you don't know about ideal clients, it's a really, really well-established business strategy to use. So look at my little live and my blog and look it up if you're not sure, because it will really help your business. Now, secondly, number 2, is to use the different types of way you can post to your advantage, and have a plan to do slightly different things every time you post something. So I've identified sort of 5 different ways of posting. First of all, one way is to entertain. Be entertaining. Produce the kind of stories, reels, and posts that people will enjoy or even laugh with you. Make them entertaining. Okay, I think this is perhaps why so many people do the dancey thing on TikTok, because someone dancing is quite entertaining. I don't think I'd ever do that myself. Singing, yeah, dancing, no. So think about how you can entertain. Okay. The second one is give value. By that I mean give sort of tips, hacks, ways people can improve what they do. So on my 2 of my accounts, in fact, on all 3 of my accounts that I have. So I've got Annie Bennett Business, I've got my wedding cake one, and I've got my sugar balloon box. So on my sugar balloon box, I often put up posts and reels to do with, a little tip about how to make a sugar flour or how to make it better. or I'll put up a little time lapse of how I make something. On my wedding cake one, I'll often put up posts about, from my blog, usually, how to buy a wedding cake, what questions to ask. So you're helping your audience. Okay. If you think of people, when people buy, or when you're selling to someone, you're solving a problem that they have. Okay. Even if it's just, the problem is that they don't know how to make brownies and they want to buy them from someone. Yeah. Simple as that. The problem that my clients have is that they want a wedding cake and they can't make it themselves. So that's the problem that I'm solving for them. So give value. If you give value, give tips, give tricks, give recipes, that kind of thing, people will follow you. Just because you give recipes doesn't mean they won't buy products from you by any means. They're more likely to warm to you and engage with you. So that's entertain, give value. And then the third one, be open. Show behind the scenes, day in the life or whatever. Show when things go wrong, because it shows that you're human, and people really connect with that. People really connect with, I don't know, you're doing your hand mixing and you get it at the wrong angle and you spray it everywhere, and that's entertaining as well for a lot of people. So do be open. Don't try and make everything you do totally and utterly perfect, because people warm to people if you show things that perhaps go slightly wrong or aren't quite right. Yeah. Obviously you can show how you put it right, and that's where your professionalism comes in. But, so don't be afraid to be open. The fourth thing that is quite a good thing to do is using pithy quotes. I like the word pithy. That's a good word. Use quotes that align with your business values, and that your ideal client will identify with. I do this a lot in my Annie Bennett business account. Quotes that motivate the business owner. And I've seen lots and lots of people use quotes in lots of different ways. So that is one way. And that's, if you know your ideal client, you'll know what kind of quotes they'll appreciate and they will engage with. Okay. And the fifth one, the fifth sort of way of selling, or way of posting, rather, not selling, way of posting, is to show your face. Now, I know a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to show my face. I don't. But I was on a training session a couple of weeks ago, and I was trying to think who it was. But it was someone who knows an awful lot about these kind of things. And people were saying, oh, I don't want to show my face. And basically she was Mrs. Tough Love and said, get over it. Just get over it. Because it's not about you. It's about your customer. Okay. Your customer, seeing faces is far more positive experience for the majority of your customers, far more than you think it is. Okay. Far more people prefer to watch television than listen to radio because they see people's faces. If adverts have got people and faces in them, you're much more likely to be drawn to them or engage with them. Okay. And I read something somewhere that people who live on their own, who are perhaps lonelier than the average person, will really warm to seeing faces on, on your posts. So it's worth remembering all that. And seeing the person behind. No day can't be improved by brain. That's right, Deborah. That's right, Deborah. That's my friend Deborah. Oh, hang on, let me show it. That's quote of the day. That is. Thank you, Deborah. But seeing someone's face is, it could be just a photo. If you don't want to go live or do a video, just take some photos of you doing something and put those up, because it really will make a difference. It really will. So I remember the person, I can't remember who it was. I'd give the name if I could remember who it was. But they basically said, get over it. It's not about you. It's about your customer. Tough love. We love a bit of tough love. So those are some of the different types of posts you can use. And in the 3 types in Insta and Facebook and not TikTok, because they're all reels, aren't they? Although my daughter called me off for calling them a TikTok reel, because they're not called TikTok reels, are they? They're called TikToks. But anyway, you know what I mean. So on Insta and Facebook, you've got your stories. Okay, those are really for your what's going on. I'm popping down the shop to get ingredients. I'm, whatever it is. And that can be very much a behind the scenes. This is me. This is how I live. This is what I do kind of thing. And in stories, there are all sorts of features you can use. If you go to the sticker button at the top, you can do a poll. So, you can put up 2 pictures of cakes, this one or that one. And it didn't take long for someone who's watching it just to press, just to click this one or that one. You can ask questions, ask a question. Do you prefer this one, or that one? And there's also a ask me any question feature. All those things are built to be interactive on your stories. So if you're not sure about them and not sure where they are or how to use them, just investigate it. Go into your Instagram stories, look at the top, and it's the little square icon, isn't it? Press on that and you'll see, and the slidey thing with the, emoji on it, pop that on your posts. Doesn't take long for someone just to slide it on over, and then they've engaged with you. Okay. So look for all those features in stories and use them. I don't use them as much as I should. As I say, do what I say, not as I do. I really should get myself in gear and use those a lot more, because I'd get far more engagement if I did. With reels, these are really, particularly over the last sort of 6 months or so, these are really being pushed by the platforms, particularly Insta. And TikTok, if you're a TikToker. And it seems that about 7 seconds is the optimum time for a reel. If you have a 7-second reel, particularly if you've got trending audio, you're far more likely to have it be seen. Okay. And you can do all sorts of different things with reels. So you can show off your products. Arty photo bombs, I call them. So you can, have different pictures. So you don't even need to do a video for reel. You can just have your different pictures and then put them in time to the music or the audio. And so from that, and the other end of the spectrum is those lip sync ones that you can do. So you get an audio. I've done loads of those. I really like doing them. If you look at my Leading Lady Cakes Insta, you'll see a lot of them on there. I just have a laugh. So those are, entertaining. And if you can get a bit of value in there as well, a bit of a hack or a tip in there as well, even better. Okay. So think about how you're using your reels and think about how you can get people to interact with you in them. And then for the posts, just the set posts with your text, this is perhaps more for, a bit more information, because you can, the text is more accessible, isn't it, in those. Use, good photos that you're going to use there, because they're going to be on your grid. And try and be really clear, if it's a sales post, how someone can buy from you. I have to be really honest and say that if I find something I think, I might buy that, and it's message me, that turns me off completely to start with. I prefer to have a system whereby, I can go to a website and have a look at what I'm buying. I want to be able to browse and see what I can buy. I don't really want to have to message. If that's the way you work and that's what your ideal clients, how they buy, brilliant. Keep at it. Yeah. But occasionally I put message me, but it's message me if you want my brochure, or message me if, you want to know more about this particular cake. I wouldn't ever say message me for a wedding cake consultation. That's not the way I do things. Not that people I would ignore them if they did, but you know what I mean? That's the kind of messages I'm giving out. And share testimonials, reviews. If you get a review, then share it. Use those, you know, any review that you get anywhere, put it up, screenshot it, put it up, use it, do it to death, because that's the kind of thing that people want to see. Okay. And then reply to your review and then show your reply. Yeah. Always interact with reviews. You know, thanks so much for your review. It was a pleasure doing your cake, that kind of thing. Okay. And I have found, this is something that I've learned, particularly over the last 6 months, is particularly for Reels and TikToks, is just to get inspiration by looking at loads of them. It's as simple as that. So, you know, I look at them, particularly, you know, you can find the trending audio that, you know, some of the lip sync ones I've done. I've seen other people do it. And I think, oh, that would be brilliant. So I save it and then I make a reel with it. Okay. See how other, particularly really experienced and Instagram creators, see how they set things up. Find some really good creators that, you know, they do those reels where they give advice on what kind of content you can show, and save those as well for, you know, for future reference. Because the number of times I've scrolled through and thought, well, that's a good idea. And then a couple of days later, I thought, oh, I wish I'd saved that because I can't remember what it said. You know, a lot of creators will go 10 ways to get people hooked into your reel, and they'll list things that you can do. So really, you know, spend not just time scrolling through aimlessly, but really intentional time on your social media, deliberately looking for things that you can use, inspiration that you can get, ideas for content. Be really quite focused on finding things, not just, you know, like I do, which is I end up going down the funny cat hole. Oh, look at a kitten. And of course, the more you spend time on something, you don't even have to like it. If you spend more than a few seconds on something, the algorithm knows that, and then it will show you more of the same. You don't even have to like it, which is why, you know, I spend 5 seconds looking at a funny cat reel and then more come up. Okay. So if you can get people to look at your stuff rather than scrolling through, it's good for your algorithm. Okay. So number three, we're on to on my big list, is post regularly. Be consistent, not necessarily constant, although constant helps, but be consistent. So if you're going to do one a day, do one a day. Don't do one a day for 3 days and then forget about it for 2 weeks. Not that I think you would, but you know what I mean? Be consistent. I find that using a scheduler and having a spreadsheet, or you can have a planner, where you can map out what it is you're going to put up. Obviously, some things are a bit more spontaneous. You know, for stories, for example, I would just, you know, do a little video about what I'm doing and put that up. But for your posts and your reels, be a bit more strategic, and plan it out. And that way you can get your, you know, I'll do an entertaining one here. I'll do a tip or a hack here. I'll do a testimonial here. I'll do a little live or a little video here. So you can make sure that you mix it all up and you get it all in. Not like I do. I fell down the rabbit hole of doing some funny lip sync videos. And that was sort of all I did for a couple of days until I realized that, oh, perhaps I better do something slightly different. So have a plan, have a schedule, jot in what you're doing. And the other thing, always try and record what you're doing when you're making something. There's a reel that goes, everything is content, everything is content. You might have seen it. Don't forget to film it, which is so true. So try and film as much as you can. You won't use it all, but you might, you know, be able to put a little video together of how to make your cake or how to make your brownie or cutting something up or something like that. I have this thing, which is an Archon mount. You know, put your phone in there and then I can record what's below, or I can record, you know, I can twist it and I can record myself, you know, piping things or crumb coating or whatever it is. So invest in something like that, then you can do things hands-free. You can just leave it. Okay. And time lapses are really good, particularly for reels. Do something under time lapse on your phone, and you can get some really good content, because it's, you know, it's not only entertaining seeing something being made, but it's informational as well. You're giving value, how to make a cake or how to ice a cake or how to do a cupcake, you know. Those kind of things are really, really good, useful. We're on to number 4. Number 4, this is blindingly obvious. And I think most people have really sussed this one, but it's worth saying. Make your products look appealing. Think about how your products look in photos, particularly. You know, there's a couple of times I'm looking at Instagram things and I think, ooh, they could have wiped their tiles a bit, you know. And sometimes I take photos and I think, oh, I can't put that up, you know. I've sprayed buttercream over that. So, you know, so make sure that your photos, particularly if it's a sales type post, they look really appealing. That's stating the obvious, isn't it? But some of the things that I see on Instagram, I think, but, you know, also you can do you know, this was how I made it, a messy shot. Those kind of things do work if that's the kind of angle you're aiming at, particularly if I did it wrong and I've made a mess. Oh, look at me. So, you know, it's not all about pristine necessarily, but if you're going to do a product show, make it really good. I've got this thing here is a photo background and I've got it on a roll on my wall and I just roll it down if I want to do a really good shot. I mean, recently I've done the weddings that I've done, I've been able to take photos with the cake, you know, in situ, which is brilliant. I use my garden sometimes, so I'll use the sort of the trees and the bushes in the background if I want to make something look really nice, and you've got lovely light as well. So think about how you're photographing. Okay. If you can, use Canva, put your photos in Canva, and then you can have your logo or your business name on as well, because people will remember that if they see a picture of a really lovely or appealing, you know, those photos that some of you do of your cookies cut in half that look so gorgeously yummy. Put your logo and your business name on so that people will remember. Sorry, I've been drinking lemonade. So that people will remember. It's all to do with people remembering you and your business name. Okay, you want your name to be the one that they think of when they think of the type of product that you make. That's sort of what you're aiming at. Okay. Yeah, so, you know, with birthday cakes, you do birthday cakes. Of course, not everyone that's looking at it will want a birthday cake, but when they do want a birthday cake, you want them to think, oh yeah, who was that person on Insta who did those really good, you know, you want them to be thinking of you. Okay, that's the idea. Number 5, this is something I'm not brilliant at, but I'm getting better at. I'm forcing myself to be better at it. And this is engage with other accounts. Engage with other people on Instagram. Think about the hashtags that you use, although I believe that hashtag use is sort of going off in importance a little bit, but look at some of the hashtags that you use and see what kind of people follow those. Find some accounts that sort of complement your business. So, for example, I do wedding cakes. So I try and follow wedding venues, wedding florists, wedding photographers, people that complement what I do. I go to their, particularly with venues that I've set cakes up at, and florists that I've met on a setup, and photographers that I know, those kind of things. Engage with their accounts, comment on photos that they put up. Share things that you like with their name on, and you will find eventually that they will do it for your account as well, and then you will be seen by their audience as well as yours. Okay. And really meaningful comments. Don't just like something. The people that follow them aren't going to scroll through people that have liked. What they will see though is if you've made a really lovely comment about what they've put up. So, you know, florist accounts, I'm always putting, oh, those colors are beautiful. You know, what a lovely dusky pink rose, things like that, things that their followers will see. Okay. Even reply to, if their followers have made a comment, reply to those as well. You know, don't force it. Don't make it sort of so it's a bit cringy, but, you know, just have a look through and think, oh yeah, I could add something to that, or I could comment on that. And that way you're then going to be seen by their audience as well. Okay. So have a think about that, you know, have a think about suppliers that you use, have a think about, you know, other local businesses, and start, if you don't already, I know lots of you do all this already, but think about, you know, following and commenting, because that's how you get your engagement. That's how you get to be seen by those people's followers. Okay. Yeah, understand the algorithms a bit. This is number 6. Understand the algorithms a little bit. I've talked about this quite a few times, and I think most people understand this now, but not all your followers will see all your posts. I think most people understand that now. You can have thousands of followers, but sometimes, you know, only a couple of hundred, if that, will see. And I know in the Facebook group, people have sort of put up posts, oh, you know, only 20 people have seen this, that, or the other. If you know, get up your engagement and do some of the other things I've mentioned, hopefully that will get better. If you engage with other people's accounts, they will engage with yours, and hopefully that will get better. But think about the time of day you post, and that links back to your ideal client. So a lot of my ideal client are perhaps, you know, working people. They're engaged working people. So if I post at 9, the chances are they'll be at work and they won't see it. So I post at 7 a.m. I also post at 6 p.m. Those are my main times. And midday, if your ideal client is someone who works, do it at midday, because what do you do when you're on your lunch break? You look at your phone, don't you? So think about the type of, you know, time of day. You can also look in your insights in Instagram, and I'm sure you can do it with Facebook, though I haven't looked at that recently, and it will tell you the time of day that most of your followers are online. And for me, it's 6 o'clock. And that will tell you the best time for you to post things. Okay, more chance of people seeing what you're doing. All right. And then number 7 is this thing that I hadn't a clue what it was when I first started in business, but it's a call to action. A call to action. Basically, what it means is you're actually encouraging your audience to do something. You're not just asking them to look at something, although you are. But them just looking at something and then scrolling on is no good to you. What you want to do is actually get them to do something. So most things that I post, reels, not so much stories because they're slightly different, but reels and posts, I will generally put, have a look at my website, or go to this link, or comment below. I don't do too much comment below. I should really do more. But get them to do something. Actually, with stories, I lie, don't I? Because the stickers, the call to action there would be to use the sticker, use the slidey thing, or do the yes or no poll, or ask a question. So all that is a call to action. All that is encouraging your audience to do something. The more that people will do something, the more engagement you will have, the more it will then be seen. You will then be seen by more people. Okay. Get them talking, perhaps put up a post that's a bit controversial. I did a series of posts last year where I put up unusual flavors of cakes. And those at the time were my most commented on posts, because people would go, oh no, salted caramel, and other people go, oh, it's my favorite, you know. So things as simple as, you know, unusual flavors, or unusual types of cake, unusual flavors of brownie or cookie or whatever it is you make, those really get people going. So do those, because people love to, oh yes, I love it, or oh no, I hate it. So anything that can get them talking, and don't be too hung up on A, the number of followers you have, and B, losing followers, because 1,000 followers that don't do anything on your account aren't worth anything. It's much better to have 50, 100 followers that always comment and always engage, because that way you'll be seen, and then you will pick up more organic followers. Okay. So don't get too hung up on followers. My followers go up and down all the time. It's just the way it is. You know, accounts get closed, people unfollow people, you know, I do this all the time. I unfollow people if I haven't looked at them for a while, or if it's not relevant to me anymore. But don't curl up in a ball and cry because you've lost, you know, a few followers. That's just the way it is. You know, big girl pants, tough love, get over it. Basically, it's how it all works. So just concentrate, spend your energy in getting posts and reels and stories that people will engage with, and your followers will organically go up without you even really thinking about it. Okay. And so that's my 7 things. My fingers don't work today. But finally, the last message really is my 3 favorite words. I'm always talking about these 3 favorite words, particularly the persevere. Okay. The other 2 favorites are be determined and be resilient. But persevere, be persistent, just keep going with it. You're not likely to see a great difference after even a month. It might even take longer than that. Some things are a bit more slow burn, but they will happen. I started really upping my reels in about April. And at that point, I was sort of getting sometimes 12 people looked at a reel, sometimes 100, sometimes 200. And it was woohoo. If it was 1,000, that was a big thing. Now I'm getting sort of 2,000 regularly, sometimes 7, sometimes more than that, because I've been consistent. You know, I've persevered at it. So you've got to be a bit resilient. You've got to be a bit, you know, big girl pants or big boy pants, and you've got to go for it. Okay. So there we are. So those are my tips for getting social media engagement up on your account, and also from going to selling to friends and family to selling outside that circle. Finding people, get people in your audience. You've got to get people in your audience who, and I use this phrase a lot, know, like, and trust you, because you're far more likely to buy from someone that you know something about and that you trust. You know, imagine if, I don't know, in your high street, a shop just popped up out of nowhere, suddenly opened. You know, they'd had no advertising, no, you know, you don't know anything about them. You know, you might think, oh, I might go in, but I don't even know if I want to go in because I don't know anything about them. If there's nothing in the window, you know, if you're much more likely to buy if they've, you know, you've seen about their opening in, you know, social media and in the papers and whatever. We're opening and we're selling this, and you know, and the shop front has lots of things in that show you. You're much more likely to go in and investigate, because you know a bit about them. You've seen them in the local paper, or you've seen their social media, and you've perhaps engaged with them. You're much more likely to go in and have a look around and then to buy. If you don't know anything about it, you're much more reluctant. So think about that on your social media. Your social media is sort of your shop front. It's, you know, the way in to your shop, hopefully to your website if you've got one, because you're going to guide people to your website, and that's where the real fun happens. So think about it as that. Think about it as your shop front. Are you making yourself known? Are they seeing your face? Are you smiling? Are you inviting them in? Okay, because it all matters. Righty ho, I shall leave it there. I hope that's been useful. Worked your way around all my waffle. Next week, I thought I was doing this week, but it's next week. I'm going to do a little thing, a little talk about being taken seriously in your business. I know that some people in the home baking business community sometimes put up posts about, I can't get my partner to take me seriously, or I can't get my family. They always think I'm not working when I am. So next week I shall be talking about that, about how to get those around you, particularly close to you, how to get them to take you seriously and to understand that you have a business. So I'll be giving you a few hints and tips next week on that. Oh, you learned lots. Good. That's very good. Thank you for that comment. That means a lot. Thank you. So have a lovely week. It is going to be another scorcher, and I'm not going to complain, even though, you know, buttercream just goes to soup, doesn't it? But we're made of strong stuff. We're resilient. We can cope with this. We're professionals. We know how to do this. And if you need any advice about the hot weather and cakes, ask in the group, because there's loads of people in there that will help and give advice and sort you out. You're very welcome, Jeanette. Thank you for joining me, my love. So have a good week. And if we're not all sunburnt and melted by next Wednesday, I sunburned so easily, you know, I have to have a hat and a caftan and all sorts of cover myself up. Otherwise I go like a tomato. But anyway, that's by the by. So have a lovely week. Have a lovely weekend. Enjoy whatever you're doing, and I will see you next week. All right then, my lovelies. Toodaloo.